Rio and Rup were two beautiful half-snake and half-human sisters living in the forest. The forest had been their home since they were little, having unaware of how life is outside the forest. Both sisters cling to each other on a tree in the form of beautiful snakes, while watching people come and go from the forest. Rup is always afraid of people, so she tried to stay away from people. But her twin sister is a very fearless snake. She enjoyed scaring people.
One day a group of 7 men came to the tourists for a nature adventure. 2 men went to ease themselves. After they finished what they were doing, they saw a big snake. They fought with it in a fear state. One used big rifle and killed the snake. They ran away in fear. In the evening Rup looked for her sister but she couldn't find her. Later in the evening she found her sister struggling and battling with her life. Her sister told her what had happened and she looked into her sister's eyes and saw the man that killed her sister. Both sisters cried together and Rio closed her eyes gently and died, and Rup cried her eyes out and swore to avenge her sister's death. Rup takes a human form and steps into the human world for the first time. At first she is afraid of how things works in the human world. Gradually she adapted and took a job as a waitress in a club. One day while serving the people he came across the man that killed her sister. With so much anger on her face she tried to relax and serve the man his beer. The man is mesmerized by her beauty and he looked at her with so much love. Both looked at each other, and Rup left. He approached Rup for friendship, but Rup declined. When Rup was about to go she slipped and fell down. The man stretched out his hand and helped her to get up. Rup left without saying thank you to him. Kizzy starts coming to the bar where Rup works as a waitress. But Rup didn't give him a chance. One night after work, Rup is going to her apartment when a group of guys wants to make fun of her. She tried to run away from her but couldn't. When the fight is getting stronger, she wants to turn into a snake, but then here comes Kizzy. He fights the guys and saves Rup like a hero. "You saved my life." "Why?" Rup asked her. "Just feel like," replied Kizzy. Rup admires his strength. Kizzy dust off his clothes and straight out his hand and offer friendship. With so much hesitation Rup later give in for friendship. Both become good friends, going to different outings, dinners, and other beautiful adventures. One evening they went for dinner. While they are eating, Rup asked Kizzy, "Kizzy, tell me, what have you done in the past that you still regret till today?" Kizzy looked at her and paused for a while and told her the incident that happened in the forest. Kizzy continued, "Some months ago my friends and I went for a nature adventure. We stopped to ease ourselves. Soon a big snake appeared in front of them. In a sacred state I killed the snake because I felt it wanted to attack me and my friends." He paused and looked at Rup, then he continued, "I wouldn't have killed the snake. It was the most beautiful snake I ever seen. I don't want to kill it, but out of defense I mistakenly killed it," he said. "Believe me, I regret killing the snake. I couldn't sleep for a whole week because of the tragic incident." "So that's it, my dear," Kizzy said. So many thoughts run through Rup's mind. She thought and asked herself, "How can I kill him since it was a mistake? Kizzy is a good guy," she thought. "A good person who risked his life to save mine can't be that bad." Rup's heart melted down because of the story told to by Kizzy. She is happy that she didn't kill him. She is happy that she was able to give him a chance to explain himself and gives his point too. Rup tried to be happy and gave a little smile at Kizzy and Kizzy smiled back. They had a wonderful dinner. When they were about to leave, it started raining. Both entered the rain and enjoyed the cool weather that the Creator gave them. Then Kizzy started falling in love with Rup. They reached home all drained. One day, Kizzy organized a very beautiful place full of red balloons and red roses all over the place and invited Rup. Rup got there and saw how beautiful the whole place was and asked Kizzy, "Kizzy, what is the occasion? Today is not Valentine." "Yes, you are right," Kizzy replied. "Today is special," Kizzy said. He knelt down and bring out a diamond engagement ring and asked Rup if she will marry. Rup refuses the proposal because of secret and where she came from, her mission and her origin. Kizzy was a bit surprised, but he told her to take her time. Rup smiled and brought him up, and said, "Let's be good friends and enjoy first. Let's know each other very well, then marriage can come if destiny permits." Rup is afraid of her secret coming out to light, and losing a friend like Kizzy, and afraid of staying alone because Kizzy is the only friend and family she had. Will Rupp's future be pleasant? Will her secret affect her relationship with Kizzy? Months later, Rupp started falling in love with Kizzy. Every day she wishes and wants to speak with Kizzy. Each evening she expects to see Kizzy in the bar. But she was unable to tell Kizzy about her feelings. 1 week passed and she didn't see Kizzy, although both talked daily. But Kizzy didn't tell her that he will not be coming to the club because of an urgent personal work that came up. She picked up her phone and called his phone, but his phone number is out of coverage. She couldn't wait, so she hurriedly arrived at his home in the evening after work, but the whole house was locked. So she waited eagerly for him. After a month he came back from his trip. But Rupp was not aware of his arrival. So one evening Rupp is done with her work. She was just finishing dusting and cleaning the chairs and tables. When she looked up, she saw Kizzy looking at her smiling. She ran and hugs Kizzy so tight, she didn't want to let go of him. Kizzy started coughing and Rupp let her go off him and stared at him angrily. "Why did you do that?" she asked. He paused and replied, "What?" Still smiling. "You left without telling me. I thought you are not coming back. What could have happened that makes you leave without even information?" she queries. "I'm still angry. Let's sit and talk because it is a very long story, but I will try and make it short. Maybe after listening to me you will know if I am right or wrong," Kizzy said. After so much pleading, Rupp later gave up and sat down with him. He began, "I received a call from my home about the sudden death of my father." He paused and looked at Rupp, while Rupp expressed her grief to him. He continued, "I rushed home, but to my greatest surprise my uncle had already started dragging my father's lawyer to read his will. But the lawyer refused, saying that reading of the will be done after burial. Maybe they thought that everything my father had will be willed to my uncles since I hardly come, although I am not interested in my father's will. I made my own money and am okay with my achievements," he said. "But to my greatest surprise everything my father had was willed to my name." He smiled while saying it. "Well, thank God that everything is fine now and the burial was successful," Rupp said. "But I'm still angry with you," Rupp continued. "Why?" Kizzy asked, pretending as if he doesn't know what Rupp is saying. Rupp insisted that he was supposed to inform her before going, and Kizzy asked her, "In what position?" "You refused my proposal, so I let you be, but I'm back." "Any plans for next week?" Rupp asked. Kizzy looked at her in admiration and said, "No plans yet. I need to have some rest. My trip was so hectic." Both of them walked home after a long discussion. A week later, when Rupp and Kizzy finished their dinner, they came outside the garden indoor to receive some fresh air. While walking in the garden, Rupp stopped and picked up a flower. "And give it to Kizzy?" Kizzy asked, "Is it a yes?" Rupp nodded her head, continuing time in the affirmation of what Kizzy asked. He hugged her and kissed her gently, and promised to give her all the happiness she deserves. A few days later, a lady confronted Rupp and told her to stay away from Kizzy. She almost fought Rupp, but people and her colleague intervened. So she left from there. In the evening, Kizzy came to pick up Rupp, but he noticed that Rupp's face is not happy. When he asked Rupp what was the matter, Rupp narrated everything that happened. "I know you told me about your past relationship and your ex-girlfriend, but how earth did your ex knows where I'm working? Honestly, she really embarrassed me." "What? You mean Catherine came here? How did she know you and your workplace? Because I haven't seen her for a couple of months now. We have not even talked or seen each other for a while now. But I promised to put her in her right place." He held her hands gently and told her that everything will be fine. She smiled and nodded her head. Rupp is sitting down thinking about her whole life, the secret she had been keeping from her fiancé. "Will I reveal my secret to Kizzy? What if he leaves me? I can't survive if Kizzy leaves me. He is the only family I left since the death of my sister. So it is better Kizzy didn't find out about my real me. I hope my past won't hurt my present and my future." While thinking, there's a knock on the doctor. Rupp smiled and said that must be Kizzy. She went and opened the door and she saw Kizzy carrying a big wrapped big box, smiling boldly. "Kizzy," Rupp said and hugged him. Kizzy came inside and dropped the box on the table and said to Rupp, "Sweetie, this is for you." Rupp hurriedly opened the boxes full of gifts and many good things. Kizzy sat for a while and called Rupp attention, who focused on opening all the gifts Kizzy brought for her. "I want you to meet my family." Rupp stopped and looked at him. "Why?" she asked. For the wedding preparation." We can't marry without our family remembered. Yes, you are right, Rupp said. I think it is high time you tell me about your own family. Kizzy continued. Rupp looked at him with a sad face and said, I don't have a family. Kizzy came closer to her and said, you and I know that everyone came from family. Tell me in a way I will understand, Kizzy continued. Well, I don't know my parents, I only know my sister who passed away. So that's it. You have been living alone? Kizzy asked. Yes, Rupp replied. Sorry about that. I promise I will make everything beautiful in your eyes and I will give you all the happiness in the world. Both of them smiled and hugged each other. Next month Rupp and Kizzy got married and went to Switzerland for their honeymoon. Few months later, Rupp found out that she was pregnant. Both the couple rejoice. Rupp feared about her future child not having the genetics of her. When they went to hospital for the first time, the doctor noticed that she was carrying twins. She informed them and their joy increased. One afternoon Rupp wad in a deep thought concerning the secret she is keeping. She stand stills and her eyes gazed at the wall. She is not aware when Kizzy came in. Kizzy called her name 3 times before she could respond. What's the matter? Kizzy gently asked while he pulled her close to him. Nothing, Rupp replied. Just mood swings, she said. You don't have to worry too much because I am always by your side. Kizzy said. Months later, Rupp gave birth to twins. A boy and a girl. One day Rupp and Kizzy were in a shopping mall getting some groceries. As they were enjoying themselves, Rupp said, I forgot to get the milk and we passed where we were supposed to get it. Let me go and get it. All right, Kizzy replied. She left. As she get the milk, she looked up and saw her sister standing in front of her. Rio. She gasped. Are you alive? She questions. Yes, my sister, am alive. Where have you been? She asked Rupp as she hugged her. Both cried. I looked for you everywhere. I thought I have lost you. Both hold each other and cried more. People passing by looked at them. As they are still in their emotional moments, Kizzy and the twins came and asked Rupp who she is, but Rupp didn't answer. Rio equally asked Rupp who is the young man and the kids. She replied, they are my family. Kizzy is my husband while the kids in front of you are my kids. What? Rio asked. Rio remember Kizzy face and fumes in anger and leaves. Rupp called out her sister's name, but Rio didn't stop. Kizzy came closer and asked again, darling, who is she? Rupp turned to Kizzy and said, she is a family I thought I have lost. Kizzy looked at her surprise but relaxed his mind. Rupp is sitting in the chair thinking about her sister. My sister is alive, are queries. How can she be alive and am not aware of that? I'm happy that is alive, but am worried that my past is now before my eyes. My sister won't stayed quiet, it won't take her time to reveal my secret. I will try and looked for her. Goodness knows where she is, Rupp said. While she is still in her thought, her rang and she picked it up. Immediately she heard her sister voice. Rupp asked, where are you? Come and meet me at coffee shop near your house, Rio said. What, how did you know my house? Rupp asked. Come and meet, or should I come to your house? Rio replied. She hung up. Rupp left with twins, since Kizzy is at his office. She put her twins inside the baby carrier and hurriedly to the coffee. Both sat down. Rio asked, are these your babies? Yes, she replied. But why are you with the person that murdered me, the person that separated you from me? What could have happened that makes you break your promise you made? Rio asked. Carrying one of the babies, still waiting for an answer from her sister. I hope you have not forgotten who you are, Rio asked again. No, I have not. This is my past I cannot get rid of even if I tried to. Rupp replied. Do you mean you are regretting your origin because you started living with humans? Humans are cruel, they don't care about human nature, so what makes you fall in love with humans? Why not one of our kind? Rupp, I looked for you everywhere when I was brought to life. I thought I have lost you forever, and am happy I later found you. Both of them paused for a while, then Rio continued with her questions. Does your so-called husband know you are Serpentine? Rupp looked at her with her eyes wide open as if her eyes is about to pop out of its socket. She couldn't answer her questions. So your husband is not aware of your nature. She continues. If you are so sure of your love, why are you hiding such a big secret from your husband? Anyway, I came to take you back. That's why I came here, Rio said gently. I'm sorry I can't leave my family and follow you. That's when Rup speaks up. Please sister, Rup begged, leave from here. Don't try to expose me in front of my husband. I am happy with my sweet family. Please don't ruin my present and my future, Rup begged. Rup continued begging her sister. Sister, you love me a lot, right? Rio nodded her head, and yes, you know I love you. But you have forgotten that I am your only family. I can't accept these babies and your husband as my family. Rup looked at her with anger, and said, Fine, you have to sever all ties with me. I'm not following you anywhere. This is my family and this is my home now, Rup said. I'm not begging you or requesting you, I am ordering you, Rio said. I'm sorry, but I am not going anywhere, Rup replied. All right, I will now do the needful. Rup, stand up and tell her I'm angry. If you want to do anything, do it with me. Don't involve my family, don't touch them. She carried her babies and left while her sister looked on. Rup arrived so late, her husband is already back. But he didn't question him, he allowed her to finish everything she was doing. Then when the babies had slept. Rup is so quiet, she couldn't talk to her husband properly. Her cheerfulness is nowhere to be found. Her husband senses that something is wrong, so she lets her be. Maybe tomorrow I will have some time and have a word with my wife, Kizzy said. In the morning, Rup was preparing breakfast when Kizzy came to the kitchen. Do you want some waffle and boiled egg? Rup asked. No, just give me my usual coffee. Kizzy replied. Okay, Rup continued cooking. Kizzy came closer to her. And he asked, What's the matter, sweetie? You have been so cold since yesterday you arrived. Where did you go? What happened yesterday that I am not aware of? I will love you to share everything with me. Maybe after pouring your heart out you might feel released. Kizzy said. Do you trust me? Rup asked, looking at Kizzy. More than myself, Kizzy replied. Will you still love me even after learning my secret? Rup still asked. Kizzy smiled and replied, Try me. Rup looked at him and smiled. I don't have any secret, she said. Yesterday I tried to know if I can look for my sister. That lady we saw at the shopping mall is my sister. Kizzy looked at her in surprise. A tragic event occurred in a place where I and my sister stayed. I thought she died, which I told you, but I saw her yesterday, she said. Kizzy signed. So you left outside yesterday to look for her with the babies? Without any thinking of any plan. Kizzy said. You don't have to worry, she will still come by, I assured you that. Kizzy continued. I hope so, Rup said. Just be relaxed and be happy. Kizzy said. In an apartment, Rio is standing up thinking, what will I do that will make my sister follow me to our home? I need to come up with a plan, she said. Should I expose her secret to her husband? No, I can't do that, Rio said. What have taken her babies away from her? No, that will be cruel. I can't separate the mother from her children. But I have to do something that will force her to follow me back home. I think using her children will be good, but I will keep them safely, she concluded. During Thanksgiving Day, Rup and family went to Wonderland for fun and family bonding. While they are walking, Kizzy bring down his babies so they can be free for some time and have so much fun too. The kids are playing with balloons and colored water. Rup went to get some ice cream for her and Kizzy. Kizzy received a phone call. He turned his face to answer the call. Immediately he finished answering his call. He turned, but couldn't see his kids again. Where are my kids? He asked. Rup arrived with 2 bowls of ice cream with different flavors. Where are the kids? Rup asked. I can't find them, sweetie. I didn't leave them, I just turned to answer a call, Kizzy replied. What are you saying? I don't understand anything, but I'm sure they can't go missing. Someone must have kidnapped them, Rup said. They looked for the twins everywhere till night, but they couldn't. Both cried so much that they forgot to eat or sleep. The following morning, Rup received a phone call. She picked up her phone and she heard her sister's voice with her baby's voice. Rio. Rup shout. Why are my babies with you? Her husband, Kizzy, run closer to her. Returned my babies to me, Rup shouted. Please, I beg of you, don't harm my babies. Rup begged in an angry voice. Do you think I'm cruel to harm innocent babies? Come home, both of us will look after the babies. We are already at our sweet home. When you are coming, bring them some milk. They are hungry and some baby stuff and remember to come alone, Rio said. And before she wanted to hang up, she to Rup, I dare you to tell your husband about your secret you are keeping from him. Then she hung up. Rio hurriedly and started getting things for her babies when Kizzy asked her, "Where are you going with my babies' stuff?" But Rio didn't answer. When she was about to leave, Kizzy stopped her and said, "If you didn't tell me what's going on, then you should forget about this marriage and our home. Tell me what's going on. This is your last opportunity," he said. Rup stopped and sat down and began to cry, and Kizzy come closer to her and hold her hands and asked again, "What's going on?" "I'm not a human," Rup said. "I'm half human and half snake. My sister came to take me back. I'm sorry I kept such a big secret from you." She moved away from Kizzy and showed him her true self. Kizzy stood up completely confused. He didn't know how to react in such a situation. Rup continued, "I came to avenge my sister's death. My sister is the one you killed in that forest when you and your friends came for a nature adventure." Kizzy looked at her. "I came to kill you, but I don't know when I started falling in love with you." She sobbed. "I thought I knew you, but I didn't. I thought I trusted you, but I didn't know you would betray my love. Why did you ruin my life?" Kizzy asked while looking at her. Rup kneeled down and begged him for forgiveness. "So where are my babies?" Kizzy asked. "My sister had our babies," Rup replied. They packed important thanks. When Kizzy wanted to take the gun, Rup begged him to drop the idea of carrying the gun to the forest. Kizzy dropped the gun. "I have nothing to say or do to you till I find my babies," Kizzy said. Both left to the forest. When they reached, they saw Rio playing with the babies and singing a lullaby to them. When she saw, she stopped and stood up. "You finally came," Rio said. "Why did you come with your husband?" "I forbid you to do so." Rio continued. "He is my family," Rup replied. "Okay. Let's settle the old scores. I will come to the point." "Kizzy," Rio called him. "Since you are the one that separates me from my sister, you have to choose the one you want to live with. Is it your babies or my sister's?" Rio asked. "Please don't do that," Rup begged. Kizzy stood still without making any sound or even talking. Kizzy kneels down and begs Rio that everything that happened in the past was a mistake. "I even told you about the tragedy incident and how I am still regretting it. Please kill me and let my wife and our kids be," he pleaded. "I still love your sister even after everything. I can't leave without both my wife and children." He continued pleading. "Sister, he is truly sorry for everything. He is telling the truth. I never ask for anything from you. This is my first time asking you something. Please forgive us." With so much pleading, she asked her sister and Kizzy to get up with so much tears in her eyes. She came to her sister and hugged her so tight. She said, "Sister, I miss you so much." "I missed you," Rup replied. Rio signals to Kizzy to come and join them in their family reunion. Kizzy hesitates but later joins them. 3 of them hugged together. And Rup begged Kizzy to forgive her. Kizzy said, on one condition. Both sister looked at him. "I mean, if you won't hide anything from me again." "I promise," Rup said, and she hugged him. "Come and live with us," Rup said. "No, I will be fine," Rio replied. Kizzy begged her to come since we are all family now. "Living alone is not good," Kizzy said. After so much persuading, she came and lived with her sister and her sister's family, then started adapting. They live happily together.